Test 1, 2.
Several bombs on his podcast.
Yeah. Test.
Someone said, should you edit that? I'm like, he would never speak to us again.
Test.
Just put the warning on it.
Test. 1, 2, 3.
Can we roll this out?
Vote. Keith.
Is it 10 o'clock? It's 10 o'clock. So, is it me?
Welcome. Thank you very much for being here. I'm Katie Blunt, Director of the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, and we are providing pledge support for which we're very proud to do. I think it would be great since we are some of us in the room and some of us on the screen and all of us using it for the first time. If we would start by going around the room and introducing ourselves and the speakers will take it from there for the election of the chair. Mayor?
I vote.
Mayor?
Good morning.
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 Excited to serve with all of you. I wish I could be there in person today.
Thank you very much. That's Mayor Robyn, Tannehill of Oxford. President Grant?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I couldn't be with you today. I have 23 board members sitting in the other room, so I want to make sure that we take care of them and take care of the flag committee. I'm so excited to be a part of this. Thank you, Speaker Gunn, for asking me to participate.
TJ Taylor, I'm from Mack, Mississippi. I'm Speaker Philip Gunn's staff. I'm excited to work
I'm Mack Varner from Richmond. Governor Husband. I'm so excited to be able to be here to work with all of you on this flag.
Good morning. I'm Sherri Carr Bevis. I have been working with Secretary of State's office for about 7 years. Today was officially my last day, and I'll be starting a new job with Singing River Health System in about 2 weeks. And so I'm honored to be serving, and I'm thankful that I asked me to serve. Honored to serve with all of you.
I'm Reuben Anderson, President of the Mississippi Archives and History.
I will just to let y'all know, we are recording this meeting and we will release the recording publicly. We also welcome our friends from the media. Thank you all for being here. All right.
I'm going to stand up and I'm going to get away from everybody and so that I can speak. And who would the friends of the media be?
Our friends in the media.
I'm just picking at y'all, okay? I'm just picking it. Great to be here with you today. I'm incredibly honored to come and to kick this off and to welcome you. To the commissioners, I want to say, let me acknowledge Senator Hillman Frazier, one of my colleagues is also here. Appreciate his leadership over in the Senate and his involvement in this entire process. Let me just make a few comments and then we will get to the business at hand. I do have a 10:30 conference call that I can count that I've got to get to, so I'm going to have to excuse myself. But to the commissioners, first of all, let me say thank you for your willingness to serve. Each of you have basically dedicated yourself for the next 2 months to this project. But I want you to understand the weight about what you're about to do. This last flag that we had existed for what, 126 years or so, and what we are about to set a course on is going to last beyond the lifetimes of many of us. And people are going to look at this new flag for years to come, and they're going to. You can take pride in knowing that this is what you did. When that thing goes up from now on, you say, "Hey, I did that." And your grandchildren will be able to say, "Hey, my grandparents participated in the creation of that flag." The flag is a banner under which all people unite. I've said that repeatedly. This is what represents our state. All sorts of groups have flags or banners. Children of Israel had banners that they lined up behind. And pirates have a banner. It's a skull and cross on it. It says we break the village, but at least it's what they unite behind, right? So we need something that represents all of us, says who we are as a people. And that task falls to each of you who agreed to serve in this capacity. We are making history here. You are making history. Whatever design you come up with is going to represent this state probably forever. And so I hope you feel the weight of that. I hope you take this responsibility seriously. I'm trying to convey to you the passion that I have for this and the weight that I feel for this thing. The way we got here from the legislative process is nothing short of a miracle. 3 weeks before we passed this bill, nobody even had this on the radar screen. And then all of a sudden, movement began to happen. And I can tell you stories sometime of legislators who came to me, whose hearts were changing, who said, my children are looking at me, my grandchildren are looking at me. They want me to do the right thing. And I know history's being made here. And I am going to, I want to be on the right side of this. And so many of them took the tough vote. So many of them stuck their necks out to put us in a position to do what we're starting here today. And I hope you feel the weight of that. So many of them risk, they think, a lot, put themselves out there to give you the opportunity to come forward and do this. So there's a lot of people counting on what y'all are setting about to do here today. And I hope you feel the weight of that, and I hope you will take your job seriously, that you will come forward with a design that the entire state will be proud of, that does in fact represent our people. So thank you for letting me make those few opening remarks. I'm obviously here to help in whatever way this thing progresses. I'm obviously here to help answer whatever questions that you may have from the legislative standpoint. The bill is drafted. We can answer, questions about that. So I guess at this point, I would ask if any of you have questions for me. Okay. I think the next item on the agenda is to elect the chair. Am I supposed to do that? All right. So from among this group, someone has got to serve as the chairperson. Yes, sir. We have a nomination, Mr. Varner.
I would like to nominate Judge Reuben Anderson to be the chair.
All right. Do you have any other nominations? I don't hear any. All of those in favor of Judge Anderson serving in this capacity, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the ayes have it. Congratulations, Judge Anderson. We trust that you serve well in that capacity. Is there any other business that I need to address?
The next item is just to review the charge in the legislation.
Okay. I will let you do that. I do need to get to my next meeting. But I'll be glad to answer any questions. I mean, I wrote the bill, so if there's any questions you have about anything in there, I'm willing to answer that, or I'm available to answer that in the future.
Well, I'll go through it real quick and we can see if I can.
Okay, I will let you do that. Now, I think we're going to reconvene on Friday at 10 to see what y'all have come up with. So I look forward to seeing y'all Friday morning at 10 o'clock. That was a joke.
I figured that was a joke.
Friday morning, 10 o'clock. I want to see what y'all got. Okay. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all.
So we have a chairman now, Judge. We are at review of purposes and deadlines from House Bill 1796. You want to say a word?
I'm going to do like the speaker and stand. I didn't seek this role as chairman, but after I thought about it, I am probably uniquely qualified to act as chairperson. And let me tell you why I say that. I went to law school at Ole Miss in 1965. I think every person on campus carried a flag. Marching band marched in Confederate uniforms. So I was not welcome. I spent 53 years of my career as a lawyer and judge in courtroom. Every courtroom I walked into, the flag told me I was not welcome. I and thousands of Mississippians have been stiff-armed by that flag. And the best example I can give you is I'm going to ask Katie if she would read a letter that was written to the governor by a close friend of mine.
This is a letter written June 11th, 2020 to Governor Reuben. Dear Governor, please lend your strong support in removing the current state flag and replacing it with one representative of all Mississippians. My family is native to the Mississippi Delta. As you may know, my father served in the U.S. Army during World War I. At age 19, during World War II, my older brother was killed in a submarine, the USS Bonefish, off the coast of Japan. Moreover, my sister served as a scientist for the U.S. Army Defense Mapping Services, Corps of Engineers, for 32 years. My younger brother and I served for over 20 years each as aviators in the U.S. Air Force, including combat service in Vietnam. Thus, I think I would be disrespecting their service were I not to lobby the state for removal of the flag, given that each willingly defended this nation. Governor, I applaud your prior efforts to improve the economic and education well-being of our state's constituency. I believe that the removal of the current flag would advance these causes. Sincerely, Reuben Anderson.
Coolidge is not unique in Mississippi. There are thousands of people who bear this experience. But one thing is unique, is high school principal was slavery. So that former state flag has caused so much grief in our state for so long. But we're the right group to take care. I'm going to turn it back over to Katie. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Can't think of a more appropriate way to set the tone for our work to your comments and the speaker's comments today. I will just quickly go through the commission's charge in the legislation, and then he will be happy to answer any questions. The commission is charged with developing, designing, and reporting to the governor and the legislature its recommendations for the new design for the official Mississippi state flag not later than September 14, 2020. The commission has wide latitude to decide how to do this work. Commission is, the Department of Archives and History provides the clerical work. Commission is authorized to hold public meetings when and where it sees fit, to receive written public comments, to collect, examine, and consider all information, to consult with experts and others as it sees fit. The legislature has specified that the new design for the Mississippi state flag must include the words "In God We Trust" and shall not include the design of the Confederate battle flag. Minutes are to be kept, and Randy is taking the minutes, and they will be available to the public. Finally, the commission is charged to make a written recommendation for the new design, which shall be presented to the governor and the legislature not later than September 15, 2020. And finally, you are entitled to receive no compensation, but you may receive reimbursement for mileage, and we have travel forms in your packets for those of you who traveled today. The rest of the bill deals with the Secretary of State's responsibility to put the new flag on the ballot. And related to that, I had a conversation with the staff at the Secretary of State's office yesterday and learned that September 14th is a pretty tight deadline for them to work with all the circuit clerks
I heard that from circuit clerks as well.
Okay,
They're very
good.
concerned
So-
about that deadline, and I agree.
We can talk more about the commission's work and how it will proceed. But I would ask the commission to consider working toward an earlier deadline in the interest of getting the image on the ballot. Any questions about the purposes and deadlines from the legislation? All right, Judge, I'll turn it back over to you. Item 4.
Why don't you take it, Katie?
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a discussion of the commission work plan. As I said, the legislation offers wide latitude to the commissioners to decide how to proceed with our work, and with only the few specific requirements about what's in the flag and what's not in the flag, and with the deadline necessitated by having the image on the ballot in November. The Department of Archives and History is excited to be a part of this, very flexible in working with y'all, and can proceed in any manner that y'all direct. For the purposes of our discussion today, I am happy if you would like to propose a sort of tentative framework for the work that give you something to think about and consider. Would you like me to offer that?
Yes.
Okay. The Department of Archives and History, working with the Speaker and Lieutenant Governor's Office and the Governor's Office, issued a press release several weeks ago requesting inviting the public to submit flag designs. And Emma is buried under them. We have had roughly 600 so far. We had initially set the deadline for people to submit designs at August 13th. With your approval, today we will issue a press release bumping that deadline earlier to August 6th to give the commission time to do its work before we get too late for the ballot.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Are you still receiving
Oh,
a
yes.
good amount every day? Like just about every day?
Yes. It's really interesting. They come in by email and they've been designed, graphically. They come in by mail and people have drawn them and colored them. It's really, people are really engaged in the process. It's wonderful to see it.
So August 6th will be the new deadline.
Right, and we'll publicize that today. We did in the press release take the criteria from the National Vexillological Association, which is just there are 4 criteria in addition to the ones specified by the legislature. Keep it simple, use meaningful symbolism, use 2 or 3 basic colors, be distinctive or be related. Those are just kind of general flag guidelines that we did include in the press release. So if the deadline is August 6th, we will have hundreds and hundreds of submissions to go through. One possibility is that we could put together a committee that would include MDAH staff and then any commissioners who want to and have the time to go through all of the submissions. The committee will review all of them except for those that don't meet the 2 criteria established by the legislature. No battle flag and the words "In God We Trust" have to be in. Those will set aside. The committee will review all the rest of them according to a score sheet that we'll develop in consultation with y'all that will reflect the criteria in the press release. Score every one and bring on August 19th, which is our proposed date for the next meeting, bring 10 designs to the committee for its consideration. Those would be the 10 designs that all the people who scored the highest. The committee would have a period of time to submit their top 5 of those 10, and those could be released publicly to give the public a chance to comment. We put them on our website, and the public could offer comments that people could see, that y'all could see. We have a way for y'all to hear directly from the public, even during a coronavirus. without us sort of mediating the comments. You could just watch them, see them. And then so we would, after the commission had a chance to review the 10 and selected 5, August 26th, we would put those 5 up for a period of comment. And then the final meeting of the commission could be September 2nd. And y'all would make a final selection based on your experience watching the public weigh in and your thoughts on the flag. September 2nd would then give the chairman time to present the design to the governor and the legislature, and then it would go to the Secretary of State and on the rest of the process from there. Again, this is just a general framework for your consideration, but I think it engages the commission in the work and fulfills the very clear intent of the legislation to involve the public. I think it really, between them submitting at the beginning and then having a chance to comment on some of the top flags that are considered, I think it meets that purpose.
I think the public engagement is very important. I mean, I think we've got to figure out a way. I know with Corona, it's very difficult, but I know in the education stuff, we did the initiative and they had forums and stuff. I don't know what that looks like, but I feel like that's a key part of it for sure.
It's certainly very clear that was the intent of the legislature. That is mentioned throughout the bill.
You know, out of 600 flags submitted for designs, I just feel like we need to have more input than just looking at the top 10 that the committee decides on. I'd like to look at a lot more than 10, okay?
I agree.
Really. Anyway, you could email us all 600.
Can you set up an email? I'm thinking of that. Set up an email for the commission.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can create a Dropbox
Okay.
and save them all in the Dropbox and give you all access to the Dropbox.
That makes sense.
I need to look at all 600.
Do you all want the entire commission to look at all 600, or do you want people who have time and are interested, do you want to volunteer to serve on this committee? It's as you wish.
I like the Dropbox idea where all of us could just be on it, the ones who.
Right. I mean, I feel like we all want to be a part of it, and maybe we can't be at the meeting, but if we're looking at it, we're able to make input, and that's our job. So I want to make the time to look.
Absolutely.
600.
Exactly.
Well,
I agree.
to be clear, 600 is just a rough number.
Oh, yeah.
And we're only doing it, Emma is sorting through, if they don't meet the requirements, they don't, that's good.
I was going to say, if they don't have
So
it,
you're only going to see the ones that meet the requirements.
But I think a Dropbox and everything that meets the requirements, we need to look at.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
So
email by Dropbox.
just to be completely clear, when we say meet the requirements, I'm just talking about the 2 in the legislation, the legislature established. These general guidelines you can take into account when you score them, but we will not eliminate any based on a judgment about the quality of the submission. We will only eliminate them if they don't say "In God We Trust" and or if they have the Confederate battle flag. And we'll keep those. If you want to see those, we'll keep them separately. But that will be a way to tear down the number.
And then on the 19th, we're talking about whatever 10 the committee decides on. I'm thinking there just maybe needs to be more than just 10.
As you wish.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll say besides just 10 on the 19th, maybe more than 10, 25 or 30.
With so many, I mean, it may be difficult to narrow it
Putting
down.
that down to just 10.
25?
Yeah, 25. 25. Yeah.
Do you want us to develop a score sheet for y'all to work with, or do you want to just use your own?
Well, you can give us a score sheet, but we can use our own judgment too. How about that?
If I may, I think a score sheet that is uniform for all of you
I
here
agree.
is fair.
Yeah.
And it may be that X number rise to the top. So in other words, the majority, say 25, 15, 30, whatever the number is, there's a clear majority for X number.
Agree.
Those should be the ones that.
It needs to be the same scoring system. I
And the
agree.
same scoring system.
Okay, we will develop a score sheet and send it out for your consideration. And we will take we'll go ahead and make the flags that have been submitted available in the Dropbox. And if y'all need help keeping track of which ones you looked at and which ones you haven't, we can try to figure out a system for that. Because
is there a way that you could label each, number each flag so that as we speak with each other, we could refer to design,
Yes.
234 or what have you, so that as we're talking amongst ourselves, we can also know that we're comparing apples to apples?
Yes, they will be numbered, and we will have a separate documentation of the whatever identifying information came in with that submission. So y'all won't be looking at this is so-and-so's flag, Waxahachie, but we'll have that information.
One other thing that I have seen, just the emails that I've gotten so far with flag designs, several of them have a design and then it says, "In God We Trust" could be placed in this location, or this location. So I think we probably need to be careful as we weed them out, because a lot of them gave several options for where that type could be placed on a design. I know you will, but that's just one thing that comes to mind. You're flipping through them, don't see it written on there, then.
Yeah, the only kind of guidance that we gave to people, we said you have to submit a design, not a description. But that's an important point, that if it doesn't show on there, but it is meant to be on there, we certainly would want to consider it. And I also should have mentioned in talking about the legislation that y'all are not constrained by what is submitted. That's submitted for your consideration, but we will retain a graphic designer in case there's an idea that you want some refinements to it, or you have your own ideas. That is an option too. All of the information presented is presented for your consideration. Yes.
Do you guys have a vexillologist on staff?
We have a vexillologist. We have some experts in the history of flags on staff, and we can involve them as you wish. There is a vexillologist named Clay Moss, who has worked with us off and on for years on our flag collection, who is very interested in offering advice and consultation to the department. We can make his contact information available to y'all as you wish. There are also historians who've written outside the department who've written on the history of the state flags for Mississippi History Now, which is a publication, an online publication of the Department and Mississippi Historical Society. So if you want, we can just provide a list of kind of experts for you to talk to if you wish. Okay, we will do that.
I think that if we, I was just going to say, I think as we look into it, it's important that we tie the history into our decision, because then it also helps us as we try to present it to the public, and the fact that it builds on the history of Mississippi. So I think that's exciting.
And we certainly can conduct any research for you in the archives that would be helpful to you. I'll send you some general information and the contact list, and then if you want us to dig in and find more information on the history, then we have to. Right?
Would he be open to presenting something to us about what good flags generally are, what bad flags?
Clay Moss has already provided me with those things. I'm going to hand them out to you.
Okay.
Right, that's wonderful.
I can have them off the end or give it to you right now.
Let's go ahead. Yeah. And she also has a big email, so she'll email.
Good flag, bad flag.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have some pamphlets.
I got it.
And then I have some examples, and he has also emailed me some PDFs with guidelines that are really helpful and just things that, from his expertise, he really wanted to pass along to the commission.
Right.
And so I can email that to all of you.
Could we maybe have him at a meeting?
Sure.
One of these meetings, or maybe set up a meeting where he just comes in and.
I was going to say before the 19th, as we're looking at him, it might be good to meet with him in the next couple of days.
I would think so.
Okay, so you want to gather, say, in 2 weeks for a presentation from him? Okay.
We got the 19th, what about the 26th? What's
She's
the
talking about earlier.
Earlier.
Just we want to do it earlier.
13th?
Maybe it's 2 weeks from now.
Oh, 2 weeks from now. Okay, before that deadline.
We have that August 6th, date on here, then we have a 19th.
Are most of them anonymous, or they just send them in, or they got their names on them, or?
Most of them have names. Some people who email, their name is in their email address. I've only received a couple with no name. For the most part, people are attaching their name and contact information.
Are y'all open to next week?
Yeah, next week would actually be better.
Could he be here by next week?
I'm sure, we will check with him. So you want to do a week from today?
Yeah, that was
Same
better.
time?
Could we do Tuesday of next week if possible?
That's good for me. That's
Tuesday at 10. We will contact Clay Moss, and if he is not available, we will let you know.
Tuesday at 10.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Given the volume of submissions, are y'all comfortable with leaving it open until August 6th? Or would you like an even earlier?
I think earlier the better, as many as we can get before then.
Okay.
I mean, if
Go ahead
people
and
are
send
that interested, I think they're gonna send them in. I would say the 1st of August, or,
Okay.
you know, just because you're giving them, make sure that information's out there, and we can also share that information personally with people that have asked me. But I think the sooner, and that way, as we're looking at it, we're already getting, because you're gonna have probably close to 1,000, basically.
Yes. And
I mean, I think if not more.
in the first few days, there were so many, and now it's sort of trickled off. But in the first few days, people really got their stuff in. So I think it might be good to bump up the
You know, the
deadline.
sooner the better that y'all can get them to us. We don't need to wait till after the 6th.
Because I do think the concern about getting it in, but I was hoping by the beginning of September, and that's what's like what we're looking at, because getting it on the ballot, I just know that process, we don't want to take any chances on that, and the circuit clerks were very nervous about all that as well. I said, we will discuss it. I said, I'll make sure, you know, so I'm glad that they already talked to y'all.
Just for clarity, the meeting on Tuesdays with the vexillologist to just advise us on proper flag etiquette.
10 o'clock on Tuesday.
And we'll do it the same way. Zoom will be an option for people who can't be here.
And we'll have some flags there before that, hopefully.
I can start working on
Sure.
the Dropbox this week.
Great.
Yeah, we'll do that as quickly as we can. We have really great, Emma's doing a great job, and then we have really strong IT staff to figure this stuff out.
Katie, this
Yes.
might be maybe jumping ahead or looking forward, maybe too far. But once we narrow it down to a couple of flags, several flags, I know sometimes a flag looks different. It's maybe on paper or on a table. Is there any way where we can actually, how long does it take to actually, I guess, make one, that we can run up a flag so we can see what it actually
I think you're actually right.
In about 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's an interesting idea. So maybe the final flag?
Yeah.
I think you've got to have it on a thing to make sure it's exactly what it looks like, but it's fine on the flagpole.
They see it waving, right?
I'm sorry?
See it waving.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if it's not too premature, I'd like to make the motion that we, with the tweaks we've discussed, follow the procedures outlined by Ms. Blount.
Give a second.
Second.
All those in favor indicate aye. Opposed, the same sign. Thank you.
So I'll write this up with my understanding of the changes from today, and we'll present it, we'll send it out to you as part of the minutes, and then if there are changes you want to make next week, we can go from there. Does that sound good?
Well, we now can.
We need to approve future meeting dates added to this next Tuesday, 28th. July 28th, August 19th, and September 2nd.
I'll entertain a motion with regard to the future meeting dates.
I move that we make those days as adjusted, the 28th, the 19th of August, and September.
We're going to have the August 6th meeting as well.
I don't think that was in.
August 6th is the new deadline.
Oh, it's a new day.
That's the new deadline,
Yeah.
yeah. The meetings were just those.
Give a second.
Could you repeat those dates, please?
July 28th,
Okay.
10 a.m., August 19th, 10 a.m., September 2nd, 10 a.m. Now those August and September dates are Wednesdays. if you want to move all of them to Tuesdays, we can do that.
I'm fine either way.
We'll stick with July 28th, August 19th, and September 2nd. We can always change them in the future.
So we can add some.
You can add some, do whatever you want.
I think we can add some.
All those in favor of future meeting dates indicate aye.
Uh,
Opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Back to you, Kay.
That's all we had,
Okay.
Judge.
Any further discussion? Before I entertain a motion that we adjourn, I'll just make a couple of additional comments. I'll simply say that I've worked with KD and the Department of Archives and History for over 12 years. And they're a first-class entity, and I feel comfortable that we'll get Mississippi's business taken care of. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker, Senator Frazier and the caucus for all of their leadership as we address this big issue. I would, as I've always told Katie, that wherever I'm chairing a meeting, it only will last an hour. So, I can assure you any of our meetings won't go over an hour. And finally, I will say that as a former judge and lawyer, the phrase "in God we trust" is a challenge constitutionally. But if there was ever a time that Mississippi and America needed "in God we trust," it's now. And I look forward to supporting that phrase. With that said, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
sorry.
All those in favor indicate aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
I love that.